Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to my amazing Acrobat guide for Spider-Man for Marvel Heroes Omega for both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now this is an in-game build that focuses mainly on the melee movement side of things, and as you can see on screen he's zipping all over the screen, which is in my mind what Spidey really should be doing. So what we'll cover in this video so you can actually run this build is we'll look at the skills and talents, we will then check out the synergies. In regards to infinity points, we'll look at the first 100 points and when you would allocate them. We then look at the general gear and priority, and at the end of the video we have some gameplay to show off as well. Now if you want to jump to any particular section, there are actually timestamps within the description, so feel free to do so. Otherwise we will check out the skills first. So skill wise we're really making the most of melee and movement skills here, with the majority of the emphasis being on the movement side of things. Now the main spender we're using is Spider Brawl, which is a melee attack and it gains a bonus based on dodge. Now we won't use it very often because we will be jumping about the screen. For that reason, in testing I did try some other skills in place of it, some cooldown skills or some range skills, and none of them actually really felt that great. They didn't make the rotation feel smooth at all, so I've decided to stay with Spider Brawl. Now the first cooldown skill we have is a movement one, and this is Spider Slam, so you can use this to get straight in the enemy's face. It's got 2 charges and a low 4-second cooldown and also a knockdown. Now we follow that up with evasive web sling, so with this you'll fire some webbing, immobilise the enemy and jump back. Now then what we do, because we have 2 charges of these skills, is we'll fire off a Spider Slam to jump back in again, and then we do evasive web sling to jump back out again. Now we then follow them up with Leaping Assault, where we jump back in again. Does a nice amount of damage and it has a 100% critical hit chance. Now that we are in vicinity of the actual enemy, what we'll do is we will fire off Arachnid Assault, and while we're using this for the 4 hits you will actually be invulnerable as well, so that's really great. Now next skill we have is your signature, so it's Amazing Smash. You immobilise the enemy, nice amount of damage rating, and rather importantly it regenerates 100% of your weapon as well, so that really does help. Now for the final skill, this may look a bit strange but I'll explain the rationale for it. So we have Web Spray. This will slow the enemy and provide vulnerability, and it's actually good for clearing trash as well. Now the way the button setup works in game at the moment is, let's say you're holding down the X button to fire off your main skill and then you press L2. The skill on L2 under X will automatically fire off. Previously you had to let go of X and press that again, but now it fires off. So the reason I have Web Spray here is you'll be holding down X to do your Spider Brawl, you work for your rotation, you press L2 to jump onto the moves on the second set of face buttons, and you'll quickly fire off some weapon, and that actually applies your vulnerability for you as well. So I found that it does work really well for me. But with the skills covered, let's now have a look at the talents. So the 3 talent lines here are really split into melee, movement and range. So as you can see, I'm going for the movement side of things. So we start off with Amazing Acrobatics. So with this you gain 25% dodge rating multiplier for 5 seconds when you use a movement power, and that stacks 3 times for a maximum 75% dodge rating multiplier, which is just insane. It really is huge. Now on top of that you gain a 10% movement power buff, and the vast majority of our skills have that movement power tag. The next talent is Jumping Spider. So when you use Spider Slam or Evasive Web Sling, reduce the cooldown of Leaping Assault by 2 seconds, and also Leaping Assault gains 100% damage. So with the rotation I do recommend using Spider Slam, Web Sling, Spider Slam, Web Sling, but if you don't want to do that you can do Slam, Web Sling, and then the cooldown on Leaping Assault will actually be down to 4 seconds because of the reduction here, so you could fire that off as well. That is an option there. I'm all about giving options really. I don't want to tell people exactly how to follow builds, I like to see them find their own way. But the next talent, it's Combined Strikes. So Evasive Web Sling deals 200% additional damage if you've used Spider Slam within 5 seconds, and also you can see it adds the charges, and it's the same for Spider Slam and Web Sling, just the other way around there, a slightly smaller damage rating, 150% additional damage it offers. But next talent is Dancing Spider, so agile attack and web zipline, which are your dashes, gain an additional charge and the cooldown comes down by 1 second. It is the best talent here. It's not the most powerful, but for a build it is the best one, and again it allows you to stay mobile. Final talent would be Amazing Impact. So this one, your signature Amazing Smash, no longer deals damage over time when it immobilises enemies, but it actually gains a whopping 200% damage rate, and it really is down to you which one you go for, but I do like the additional damage on this, and it can hit for a huge amount. Next up anyway, let's have a look at the Synergies. With the Synergies then, we always start off by looking at the primary attributes, and that's fighting and strength, so that's covered by Ant-Man and War Machine. We then have the more standard Synergies that I like to use, and they are Blade, Hawkeye, Hulk, Nova, She-Hulk and also Squirrel Girl. Now the two that are specific to Spider-Man that work well are Black Widow and also Daredevil, because they offer the melee power damage there. Now next up we will look at the infinity point allocation, and we will check out where I would place the first 100 points. Infinity point wise here then, I use my trusty node of Deep Thought, which is under the Mind Gem. Now this provides 250 webbing, and it is, I would possibly say, required for this build because it can be quite resource heavy. Now if you don't have a lot of infinity points in the short term, you could use something like the cybernetic implant, which offers up to 300 of your resource of choice, and that can really help out so you can keep all your skills up there. Now after you've placed those first 100 points, which should be enough to keep your resource up, I'd maybe put the points into health potentially, because Spider-Man can be a little bit on the squishy side. But next up what we'll do is we'll check out the general gearing priority. As always with this section, rather than spelling out every slot and where you would want to put in items, I'll give general guidelines, and that way when items do change in time you can apply these guidelines so you can make your own decision as to what items you want. Now we always look at the legendary first, because this really does shape the items you generally will want to go for. As we have a movement heavy build, the Hermes Wing Sandals works great. It has 100% move speed and 1500 damage rating to movement powers for rank 2, 1500 for rank 3, so that's obviously 3000 in total, which is a huge amount, and then 1500 critical hit rating to movement powers and that additional charge of dash. And because our talent selection gives us a charge of dash, that means we have 5 in total, and they actually have a 3-second cooldown, so you can really remain mobile with this. Now because we gain the critical hit rating to the majority of our powers through our legendary, it means for your cosmic slot 1 to 5 and the majority of your artifacts, you can really focus on the damage and brutal rating side of things. Now for the actual medallion, this is one that I feel will be good for a long time. This is Juggernaut, so every second moving, which we'll be doing a lot, increases your damage rating to movement powers by up to 1000, so that can work out really nice there. For the relic, we are using the Relic of Asgard, and the reason for that is the vast majority of our skills have not only the movement tag of course, but they have the melee tag as well, so this really is the best option there. Now what we'll do to finish off the video, here's the fun part. We have some gameplay, and I've decided to run through the Daily Bugle where I can face off against the Sinister Six. I figured that would be nice and fun. Now I've mentioned it in previous videos, but I'll just mention it again. This gameplay segment is meant to show off the rotation and generally how the build plays, not how it plays in best in slot gear, so I won't always necessarily be playing in cosmic difficulty, because I'm not showing off the maximum potential of the build. I am showing off the build and how it plays. The reason for that I'll quickly add is if I was to max gear out a hero in best in slot gear before doing these videos, I could only get about 1 done a week as opposed to 2 a day, and I all know what you would probably prefer to see. You'd rather see the 2 a day, and I'd rather be doing 2 a day as well. It's much more fun for me. But here we go for the gameplay segment. If there are any questions, as always, feel free to ask. Enjoy this, and I'll see you all again soon.
Looks like the rest of my day just opened up. Mind if I horn in? Ooh, did I just steal your...
Clear the way! I should get paid extra for this. That don't feel good. Here I come!
I see you were gifted with the proportional intelligence of a rhino, too. Oh, look! It's time to play. Why can't I get rid of you? This isn't over. It's never over! Need me to record your shows while you're in prison?
Get out of my newsroom!
This must be one of those revolting developments I keep hearing about. Grounded. Seriously, I got a million of these.
Time to squash the spider. This is not over.
Glad that's over. I was running out of material.
Death from above! The vulture is here!